This is an odd question. I don't really know that there's any others in any of the official materials that are kind of like this one. It's one of these illustrate the claim questions, but it's not like literature or poetry. It's just like a random passage. Maybe this was supposed to be one of those like what best supports the conclusion or supports the student's claim, but it got kind of mistranslated somehow. I don't know, but here it is. Let's do it. Yeah, so best illustrate the student's conclusion. They'll get to a conclusion eventually. Some residents in a neighborhood in Atlanta recently founded a community garden inside a local park. The residents agreed to volunteer to take care of the garden together. Students at a local high school surveyed some of the volunteers as part of a project to understand the impact of the new garden. The students concluded that the new garden benefited from the community overall by fostering connections and relationships between the volunteers and other residents of the neighborhood who weren't volunteering at the garden. So foster means to kind of promote. So it's people are, connecting and relating, and people who are involved in the garden, people who aren't. So it's about this kind of relationship between the two. So that's what I'm looking for. Dumb summary, very easy when they tell us to focus on the conclusion, and then they use the word concluded in the passage. So choice A. Our first challenge was deciding what plants would be most suitable to the climate and soil here in Atlanta. We needed plants that could survive the hot and humid summers. This has nothing to do with the relationships between people. It's about plants, so no. B, we're lucky to have a few expert gardeners living in the neighborhood. Some volunteers and I have gone to them a few times with questions, and they've been eager to help us and to learn more about the project. So what's odd here is that if I thought expert gardeners, my thinking is, oh, well, they're involved in this particular garden. But I guess maybe not. Maybe they're just separate people who happen to like gardening and are not involved in the community garden. I don't know. So that this feels like a connection. Certainly, I can't eliminate it. It's got some of the right pieces here. So let's look at the other choices. C, I love getting the opportunity to be outside and around nature, especially on days when the weather is nice. That has nothing to do with connecting with other people, so I don't care. D, my favorite thing about the garden is the feeling of pride I get when I walk by each day as I see the plants growing. I feel good knowing I had a small part in creating this beautiful space in the neighborhood. So if you had any doubts about B, they should be gone by now because it's the only one that's about other people, right? So they all have to connect. This is pretty straightforward. Again, I don't really know what this question is intended to be. I guess it is similar to some of those poetry questions, but it's definitely a little different from most illustrate the claim ones. But yeah, just as a reminder, I guess, don't let something a little weird throw you off. Like, it's still the same basic skills we use for any other passage question. They tell us they want something, we go find it. Like, that's how these all work.